What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. I hope everybody's doing well, and let's get straight into things. So obviously we've got another weekly review. We're going to be looking through the week. We do have non-farm payroll this week. It's come around so fast, so I am expecting a lot of volatility as we head towards the end of the week. Now, generally speaking, I like to get, ICT suggests you get all your trading done by Wednesday afternoon when it comes to non-farm payroll weeks, which is completely understandable, especially considering how volatile and risk averse it can be. We're creeping into the month of November. I do believe elections are coming up. So yeah, the chart should be quite interesting to say the least. So last week was a pretty strong week for us if you watched last week's videos in terms of being able to call the market and general directions. And you can see how we've now traded up into this monthly bearish order block, which is nice to see. Now I'm not going to use this one, just because we haven't actually touched it yet. However, we have traded into this one, and because it's a monthly PD array, that means it's very strong, and we should anticipate a reaction away from this. So I'm anticipating, if anything, some down close weeks, and as we drop down to the weekly, you'll see how we've now had 4 weeks of consecutive up close price action. So there is reason for us to anticipate opportunity and potential room for that down close week that we're looking for. So with that in mind, I'm just going to mark a few things out. Let's first specify this as being a monthly bearish order block. Like so. And I'm just going to thicken it up a little bit because it's on the 3 month. And again, this is a monthly PD array, so we do expect a pretty strong reaction away from it. One concept that ICT taught is that once we're traded into a PD array on the monthly, we then go to the weekly to look for the discount. It's hard to explain. I forgot specifically what video it's in, but basically we should be looking at the weekly for the actual PD array, the discount that we want to try and look for. Before we do that though, I do want to split the chart up, the trading range. So our current trading range is between this high and this low, because we're in that range here. And then what I'm going to be looking at is everything below this midpoint. So let me just get my premium versus discount, and you can see we're in a premium. So now I'm going to be looking for a weekly PD array that's residing below the 50% level, because I'm expecting and anticipating price to now return down to the discount area. So let's go to the weekly, and then we're going to look for any kind of PD arrays below the 50% level that price may want to trade to. Now we have this fair value gap down here, that's in the discount area, so we'll get that marked out. Let's make that red. And we also have a fair value gap right here as well. Now you can see how that's residing on the 50% line exactly. Now obviously there's this massive one here as well, but I'm not too concerned about that, just because these are the closest. So, and remember, this is a weekly time frame, so I'm not too concerned about us getting down here. However, moving into next week, I would like to think that price will be able to potentially trade down into these discount PD arrays, assuming the monthly bearish order block behaves itself. So I'm going to get rid of this now, since we don't need that. And I'm going to write weekly fair value gap here and here. And then if price does manage to turn around and start trading lower, we know where it's likely to be drawing to, and that can help us get in on some nice moves. Another thing to take note of is this rejection block level. So if we look at these levels right here, you see how this wick and this wick traded into this wick. Although it's before this wick, it's still I'm still treating this as a rejection block. And I did speak about this last week, but I was explaining how it should act as one, and you can see it's pretty much done that with how we closed last week. So look at how we traded right up to the 50% level, and then came off of it, closing below it. So I'm happy for us to dip back in this range. However, ideally, I don't really want to see price trade through it. If it does get above this level, then and only then would I expect us to try and trade up into this fair value gap residing up here, and that's just a matter of us waiting. So I'll probably let Monday trade, see what happens. But generally speaking, I'd like to think that it will struggle to get any higher, and then I would like to think that we can get some more downwards price action, especially after all of these weeks of up close. But it's not impossible. So let's go down to the daily. We'll take a closer look. And if we're going to expect a down close week, typically we expect the high to be made on Monday or Tuesday with expansion on the rest of the week. to the downside. So I'm happy to see rallying on Monday, Tuesday, even Wednesday. I'm happy to see price continue giving us up closes again into this rejection block level. However, ideally I'd like to think that we'll get some nice displacement maybe on the Wednesday, suggesting that price may want to start trading down into our discount PD arrays, which I've just spoke about. If we run out this high, like I said, it's likely we are going to go for this fair value gap, but I don't really want to think about that for now. And like I said, after Monday we'll have a little bit more context. Here's the 4 hour. Beautiful price action again. Look at how price came off that level. Look at that. You can't make that stuff up. Beautiful displacement to the downside, and again I'm expecting some kind of consolidation for a bit before continuation to the lower side, but we need to wait for a clear break in market structure. We don't exactly have that yet, so that could be off the back of news that we see that. Not necessarily on farm payroll, but we'll know when we see it because it will be clear displacement. So that's going to be everything on dollar. Let's now head on to GBP USD. And we're going to start here on the monthly, and obviously if we're expecting a down close week on dollar, potentially we want to see an up close week on pound. So I'm going to do the exact same thing I just did. I'm going to look at the current trading range. So we just look for the last down close candle and then draw out the range. You can see we're in that range, we're in the discount. So I'm looking for anything in the premium. Let me switch it around because I like the green to be premium. So we go from discount to premium, premium to discount. So I'm looking now on the, when I drop down to the weekly, I want to look in this range to find any kind of weekly PD arrays that price may want to snap back and pull into ideally. So let's go to the weekly. And there are no fair value gaps here. There's a bearish order block here and technically here as well that price may want to trade up to, but I prefer imbalances because when price is moving, it's usually moving to swing lows and to fill imbalances, so we need to allow for that. So this is our nearest fair value gap on the weekly, very large, and then obviously we have these swing highs as well as buy side liquidity, so I'll keep that marked out. And then in terms of the discount, price shouldn't really need to get any lower than that 50% level if it's going to dip down there, but you can see how we've traded to the 25% level. Very interesting. I'll show you what I mean. Look at that. So that's something to study, but nonetheless, let's go to the daily, and now we have our premium PD array that if we're going to have an up close candle, that's where we want to see it draw towards. So let's go down to the daily. And you'll see there's a nice bullish order block here. I do like the look of that. I'm happy for price to trade down into this. Because like I said, if we're expecting an up close week, we're going to expect some level of manipulation. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw price continue to trade on lower, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we get a reversal. So let's just have that on our charts just for awareness. And I'm going to put a daily bullish order block so we know that if price does trade into that and it does look like dollar is about to turn and we just happen to be at this bullish order block, that could be a PD array for us to trade off. And then there's a fair value gap inside a fair value gap right here. So if we want to be more specific, a little bit less, we can make that like so. And now we've got a more defined range as to where I'd want to see price draw up to, assuming we are going to have an up close week and we are just going to, do a classic come lower, create the low, and then start to trade on higher. Now, I'm not saying that price needs to get up here this week necessarily, but if we're expecting a turn, then that's where we should anticipate it to be drawing towards, and that's what we need. We just need to be on the right side of the market. So let's drop down to the 4 hour. Not really much here. I am definitely watching this bullish order block quite closely because it's looking to me like these lows will get taken and there's going to be some nice south side liquidity residing below there. So we will keep that in mind. But generally speaking, that's what I want to get reached early in the week. If at all, I want this to be grabbed early in the week, and then I'll be happy to expect us to potentially trade on higher. Then we've got all these highs here, 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 and here. So that's everything over there on GBP USD. We are going to finish up on pound right now. Euro USD. We'll start on the weekly. And also I did see a video, someone asking for like a trade review from last week. I will make one. It's a good idea. I have been meaning to, so I will try and go through the trades. They are still on my demo account, and I will start trading more on that demo account just so you guys can see whenever I'm placing a position. But nonetheless, same thing. Let's start on the monthly. Beautiful displacement to the downside. We're going to do the exact same thing. We want to look at premium versus discount. So remember, I'm looking in this range for a weekly PD array, that price I want to trade to. Now, this is all assuming we are going to get a reversal. And the only reason I'm assuming that is because we've had, like I said, 5 weeks of downwards price action. We've traded into a very high frame premium PD array on dollar. If you watched last week's video, you remember me speaking about the 3-month bearish order block. I called it, and you can see we traded into that. So I'm expecting a reaction away from it. These are the confluences that are adding to my reason for wanting to see this reversal. It's not just random. It's the fact that we're in a very deep discount, and I'm looking for us to return to a premium. We've traded to a 3-month PD array on the dollar. Got non-farm payroll this week. You know, there's a reason. So let's continue. So now we want to look for PD arrays above the 50% level of the current trading range that price may want to trade into. We have this imbalance similar to dollar, with it being on the 50% level line, and then we also have a slight imbalance right here as well, very specific. But we could talk more on that as we drop to the lower time frames. There is a bullish order block right here. So again, price may want to dip down into that, which is completely fine. Very, very deep discount. Don't know if it's going to make it down there. Probably not. But it's nice to see that we took out these lows. We do have the fair value gap here. So, you know, price may want to try and fill that first before coming out of it. So we do need to take that into consideration. In fact, with that being the first PD array, let's get that delineated and we'll make it red. Let's get rid of this and this. And then any lower than that, I will get a little bit suspicious and probably expect us to keep running. And then that's a whole different story on dollar as well. But we can worry about that if we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Here's the daily. Again, there's that slight little gap left from the imbalance, and you can see the imbalance is still here as well. So that's beautiful to see. We got a nice breaker, low, high, low, low, last up close candles. So that should be sensitive to price, assuming we're reversing. And then this was our first premium PD array that I'd want us to get traded to. And then we have a nice little imbalance up here as well. So you can see how I'm framing my week and my expectations and where I'm happy to see price trade. When it starts disrespecting them, so for example, if we drop through this, that's saying to me something. That's saying, okay, you was wrong about that. We're likely going to go to a deeper PD array, and I'll simply just readjust my bias and start identifying those potential PD arrays to get on the right side of the market. So, but moving into this week, that's what I want to see. I'm happy for price to drop down here, but I want to see it leave it and trade again. Like, you know, I want to see all of this get ran. Anyone that's short right now is profitable, very profitable. And the market's going to want to eat all of that for lunch, especially with things like non-farm payroll. So we need to be aware and allow for that. So that's going to be everything, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like, drop a comment, smash subscribe, join the mailing list, join Discord, and any other questions, just drop a comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.